Two religious powers. Billions of followers. A Christian leader dressed in white, respected globally. And Islamic scholars and sheikhs, spread across continents, holding influence in the deepest corners of everyday life. But here's the real question. Who actually holds more power in today's world, the Pope or Islamic sheikhs? This isn't just about religion. It's about culture, politics, law, and even economics. Because when you really look at it, power isn't just who stands in front of the biggest crowd. It's who shapes hearts, minds, and laws. Stay with me for the next few minutes. Because by the end of this video, you'll have a whole new perspective on how religion shapes our world and who truly controls the narrative. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications if you're into bold, thought-provoking analysis. Let's begin. Chapter 1: Structure of Authority. When comparing religious power, the first thing to understand is structure. The Pope leads the Roman Catholic Church, which has a very centralized system. One head, one doctrine, one final say. Over 1.3 billion Catholics recognize the Pope as their spiritual leader. His statements, especially on moral and ethical matters, carry global weight. And though he doesn't control governments directly, his influence often extends far beyond the Church. Islam, on the other hand, is structured very differently. There's no single global leader in Islam. Instead, there are thousands of respected scholars across various branches: Sunni, Shia, Sufi, and more. Some Muslims follow sheikhs from Al-Azhar University in Egypt. Others follow ayatollahs in Iran. And some look to Saudi Arabian clerics or Indonesian scholars. This decentralized structure means no single voice speaks for all Muslims. But it also allows adaptability. Different regions and cultures interpret teachings in a way that fits local realities. So who wins in structure? If we're talking global unity and hierarchy, the Pope stands alone. If we're talking breadth and diversity of influence, the sheikhs take it. Chapter 2: Influence on the global stage 5 to 8 o'clock. Now let's talk visibility. The Pope is arguably the most globally recognized religious leader on earth. His speeches are broadcast on every major news outlet. He's met with presidents, spoken at the United Nations, and addressed urgent global issues, from climate change to war to poverty. He is treated not just as a spiritual figure, but as a diplomatic and moral authority. Islamic sheikhs, while highly respected within Muslim communities, rarely receive that same kind of international exposure. Their voices are powerful in their home regions, but often misunderstood or ignored by global media. That said, some Islamic scholars have millions of followers, especially online. Platforms like YouTube and TikTok have given rise to popular Islamic teachers who reach younger audiences worldwide. Still, when it comes to international spotlight and political presence, the Pope stands in a category of his own. Chapter 3: Political Power and Legal Control. Now we enter deeper territory: political power. The Pope leads a country, Vatican City. It's the smallest nation in the world, but one of the most influential. The Vatican has ambassadors. It holds diplomatic ties with over 180 countries. And the Pope's words can shift political conversations globally. However, the Vatican does not control the law in other countries. It can advise, influence, and guide, but not govern. Islamic sheikhs, on the other hand, often have direct control over laws and policies, but only in Muslim-majority nations. In Iran, religious leaders don't just advise, they rule. The supreme leader, a Shia cleric, has more power than the president. In Saudi Arabia, clerics and religious councils shape education, public morality, and even the justice system. Even in more moderate nations like Pakistan, Malaysia, or Indonesia, religious scholars often influence what's taught in schools, what's shown on TV, and what laws get passed. In terms of raw political influence in daily life, Islamic sheikhs have deeper reach. But their influence is regional, not global. Chapter 4: Influence over daily life. Religious power isn't just about who controls governments. It's also about who shapes daily life, culture, and identity. The Catholic Church has a massive footprint in education, healthcare, and charity. Catholic schools and hospitals exist in every continent. And the Church still influences views on marriage, abortion, family, and morality, especially in places like Latin America, Africa, and parts of Europe. But Islamic scholars often go a step further. In many Muslim societies, sheikhs influence not just beliefs, but lifestyle. What to wear, how to pray, what food to eat, how to raise children. Their teachings are often tied to law, making their influence both spiritual and practical. In some regions, Friday sermons are followed more closely than national news. A fatwa, or religious ruling, can affect millions overnight. So while the Pope influences systems, sheikhs often shape souls on a daily basis. Chapter 5: The Digital Age and the Rise of Online Influence. Let's fast forward to the modern age, the Internet. Both Catholic and Islamic leaders have entered the digital world, but the approach is very different. The Vatican runs official social media accounts. The Pope tweets. He's present online, but in a very formal, institutional way. Islamic scholars, however, have taken to YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and podcasts in large numbers. Some young clerics and preachers have built massive online communities, especially in Southeast Asia, the Middle East, and Africa. This younger generation of Islamic voices is reshaping how the religion is seen and followed. And unlike traditional media, the digital world is borderless. So while the Pope dominates traditional platforms, Islamic scholars are catching up, and in some regions, surpassing that influence online. Chapter 6: Crisis Response and Moral Leadership. When global crises hit, whether war, famine, or social unrest, people turn to religious leaders for comfort and direction. The Pope has consistently responded to major world events with messages of peace and unity. He condemns violence, advocates for refugees, and supports climate action. His messages often speak to all humanity, not just Catholics. Islamic Sheikhs also issue responses, especially during wars involving Muslim countries or crises affecting the Islamic world. Fatwas may be issued. Prayers are organized. Humanitarian efforts are launched. But due to decentralization, the message is not always unified. One scholar may call for peace, another for resistance. And this can create confusion outside the Muslim community. In global crises, the Pope is often seen as a unifying moral voice. But Islamic scholars offer more regionally tailored, emotionally connected responses. Final analysis of who holds more power? So, who holds more power? Let's break it down. In centralized authority, international media access, and global unity, the Pope leads. In legal control, regional policy, and day-to-day cultural influence, Islamic sheikhs hold deep power. The Pope is a symbol of global stability. The sheikhs are engines of localized transformation. One influences nations through diplomacy. The other governs minds through lived reality. The truth is, both are powerful, but in different ways. The Pope's power is broad and symbolic. The sheikh's power is deep and functional. And perhaps, in this complex world, power is no longer about who leads more people, but who impacts them more personally. Thanks for watching. If this gave you something to think about, like the video, drop a comment, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content every week.